the only one podcast that we do not do our research, so do not take our word, guys. But um, this is Lalito, aka el biggest Cruz Azul fan out there in the world. It's the best club in the whole, I don't know, CONCACAF. Up
Oh
there with
boy.
Barcelona. But anyway,
After the display that CONCACAF is doing in the World Cup, I don't know
so
if you want to brag about this.
well, yeah, let's leave that to the end because I do have a little bit of some surprises for our Mexico out here supporting our the his black horse, so to speak.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, came out wrong there,
Supporting
but
it. The stallion.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But
Whoa.
before we get
Whoa.
started, let's introduce our special guest. No,
Of
Mexico,
course. Of course.
Mr. Irvino Ronaldo out here. What's up, dude?
Yeah.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I love coming back here talking about soccer. Every time I'm back, it's a different guest because or not a different guest, but it's a different co-host. Idea is like constant, but then last time it was I know his name, but I don't know if you guys say the actual names. And then this time it's Lalito. So it's always nice getting that switch of pace. So I'm excited to talk about football though, or
Oh yeah.
football.
Well, I hope so
As a
because we
Okay.
have our first two official disqualified teams for the World Cup.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, let's start. I mean, that gives us a great intro into Group A, right? I mean, the host nation.
So you mean the Salvadorian Slayer,
You mean the Mercedes? So look,
the
dude, I don't know if you've
Mercedes?
been listening to our podcast. Apparently, Qatar was selling us a Mercedes, and I don't know. I don't know where we got this idea that Qatar was going to be any good. But when I was like, oh, who's going to make it out of this group? I was like, oh yeah, Qatar's going to make it out of here. And
because I mean, even if they don't look good, you knew that money was coming whoop right under the table.
oh, and especially that first call, and I was like, oh, okay, this is about to be
Yeah,
some ridiculous
I
stuff.
see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. This
As the
team's
kids say,
definitely
I
going to
know
be
what
bad.
time it is.
Like,
Yeah.
of course. Um, but yeah, man, looking at Group A, how does that group look like to y'all? I mean, it's the first week. We're wrapping up, right? We're wrapping up the first set of games. Now we're going into the second game. Some teams have been eliminated, as you mentioned. Qatar is being one of them. Does anybody stand out to you from this group? We have Ecuador, we have Senegal, Netherlands, and Qatar. Did anybody stand out to you from this group?
For me, Ecuador just put display very convincing face. I think they have a really good opportunity of making it far to the World Cup. I know in the game against the Netherlands, it was a little hard to get going. But
Uh-huh.
once they got going, I mean, they completely annihilated the midfield of the Netherlands. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I think as far as a team that stands out, I would say Ecuador as well. I've heard people say that that's the best team in the group, and it's not the toughest group. I kind of the first 10 minutes I saw Qatar playing, I was like, all right, they're not going to another World Cup again. Like they're here because they're the host nation.
This is as
Um,
far as they go.
yeah. Um, and so, but Ecuador, as far as Ecuador is concerned, they're very compact. They're very athletic. They have speed at different positions, the positions that matter, on the wings and up top.
Mhm.
Uh, Valencia has, speed to get in behind. He's got, for not being such a big guy, he's got good aerial presence. And that means that, anytime teams start to get desperate and they just need to launch the ball into the box, he can always get on the end of it. Um, so he's a striker that you can count on. So they're good. They're going to be a tough out for anyone. I mean, it depends who they get in the next stage. I assume they go through. I don't know how far they'll go, but yeah, I think Ecuador. Senegal was a team I had I had semi high expectations for, but once Mane got injured, it was like
It's kind of as
you're
far
just
as they go, right?
yeah. I
They go
mean,
as far as Mane would have taken them.
yeah, bro. It's
But
like
can we was so the match against Qatar? I mean, it was a convincing kind of match to be like, yo, we're still here, we still have a chance. But is it enough to get through the group stage? That's the question.
Well, I think the second match is what really displays their tenacity. I think that the Qatar, I mean, Qatar looked nervous. Two different games, right?
Yeah.
Qatar is a completely different beast than the Netherlands.
Yeah. I mean, it's
You
one
know,
thing. Bless the goalkeeper's heart. Like he was trying, but you could see. I mean, what was my man doing on the first goal that they disallowed?
oh yeah, he was trying to be a
Uh,
hero. I can tell you that right now.
yeah, and they were nervous. You can see that they were nervous. Netherlands has a whole nother pedigree, and even though they don't necessarily look like world beaters, um, they have all that experience. Van Dyke. They have that dude that's coming up, and he looks like he's ready to make a name for himself.
Yeah,
Gakpo.
Timber. Gakpo's a beast. I mean,
Yeah,
that to me has been kind of one of my favorite players out of this group. Him
yeah,
and Ener Valencia. I was kind of talking smack about Ener Valencia in the beginning because of his age, but I mean, the
You
man
shame
has
yourself.
the colmillo, right? As we say,
yeah,
he
yeah.
has that knack for goals. I mean, the man is he's in the record books right now already. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
it
saying?
is.
Yeah.
Like,
It is.
so that can't go unnoticed. And then you have this super young dude, Gakpo, that is kind of carrying this Netherlands team. Who I wouldn't have thought that that's who would have actually been carrying this team.
Right.
Going forward.
Man, I mean, he's been tearing it up in the Dutch league, though. He's won back-to-back Player of the Months. Like, he's really a breakout star, and it's crazy because sometimes you play well for your club, but then you don't play so well for your country. For him, it's really cool to see that it's translating into that. Because when you look at players like um, Depay, he was kind of like their last big sh- attacker, and he just really didn't, you know, he didn't amount to much on the international stage. So yeah, Gakpo's great. He's young and he's 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 someone that you got to keep an eye out on,
Mhm.
and you need that up top. And then you just have that pedigree, with Van Dyke in the back, and you have obviously Frankie De Jong. Um, you just got experience all over the field. So while they don't look great, I don't think they're one of the favorites. They're still a solid team, and they can, get to the quarterfinals easily, semifinals, I think, also if they stretch
Whoa, whoa,
themselves.
whoa, 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 whoa. Come on, guys. Are we not gonna talk about the big elephant in the room? I mean, look, Netherlands did to me did not look convincing to even get through the group stage. Honestly, after seeing what Ecuador did to the midfield, they were non-existent, guys. I mean, this is a team that supposedly was going to get through so easily, according to our hostess.
Uh oh.
But no, they do not look good. They look terrible. I mean, honestly, and this is just Ecuador, which Ecuador is not your top, contender to win the World Cup, but they just don't look good. They don't look good enough to even get through the group stage, in my opinion.
The
Yeah.
Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Hmm.
I mean, the thing is,
They're gonna make it through though. They're gonna play
yeah, that
against Qatar. I
because they
mean,
got, yeah, exactly.
it's
Now, if they
done.
lose
It's
to
over.
Qatar, that's horrific. But
Yeah.
um, the game that's going to be good is going to be Senegal versus Ecuador. Now we'll touch on the Netherlands thing, but because two very athletic, powerful teams, so um, I think they can go tit for tat in terms of style of play. But then the Netherlands, I think one of the things that has to be taken, or a variable that needs to be taken into account for this tournament is the fact that it's in the middle of a season, and that didn't really allow for preseason, um, uh, you know, teams kind of acclimating to one another. It was they had a week and then they started playing. Where normally you would get like 2 or 3 weeks before the tournament starts.
Hmm.
I think so that makes it more like I don't wanna say a free for all, but I feel like teams that you wouldn't necessarily think have a chance. And as far as Netherlands versus Ecuador, I thought that spoke to how hard Ecuador is as a team. Pause.
Yeah.
I think, uh, they're like they're gonna be a tough out for anyone, So it's 3 compelling teams and, one team where like, I was listening to the backstory on this national team of Qatar, like, they barely play club football. They're more like they're playing more national football than they are club football, and they were going all around the world doing friendlies and stuff to get ready. And once the whistle blew for the World Cup, I mean, it was trembling knees everywhere.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I said it in our last episode. I mean, I kind of feel bad for these dudes. I mean, you have the weight of the whole nation and everyone's watching you. It's just
yeah,
like, man,
it's
these
your
guys,
first
these
one.
these
Yeah,
folks got the bid. You know what I'm saying? And here they are trembling at the knees. My boy Afifi was nowhere to be found. So it was a
yeah.
sad display, but I can't just say, oh, the Netherlands looked horrible, because I don't want to take away from Ecuador and how good they actually look. And I have to commend, and I have to like kind of backtrack what I said about, Ecuador being last place. That's where I said, that's where I had them when I put
Mm.
my thing. I
Ooh.
was like, oh, Ecuador's at last place. And I mean, on one, it says how much I don't know about Ecuador, but then two, just like how what I like about them is that they have their strategy, you know what I'm saying, and like they're sticking to it, and I think that's what's working for them. And I can't, and I don't want to knock them, for that. I think that they are gonna. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. That game's gonna be tough,
No, I
but
Mhm.
mean I do see Ecuador getting out. But look, I had this beautiful picture of Qatar, after the display in the Copa de Oro. They destroy
here we go.
half the
Here we
half the
go.
continent, and it was very promising. Once the once the World Cup started, that team was gone. But let's also, it's also to understand who was in the Gold Cup, right? Like those teams can't compare to
Yeah, exactly. It's a
Right
who they
here,
different
were.
level
right
of
here.
yeah, right
That
there.
one specifically.
Yeah, we were
And
in it, dude.
and one of the things is Ecuador has to go through they have to go through the gauntlet in order to get to the World Cup.
Yeah.
So they're going up against Brazil, they're going up against Argentina, Uruguay when they have their best players. Like they're not afraid of anyone.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference when Qatar would have been better served if they went to the Copa America and got blasted versus going to the Gold Cup. Um, with all due respect, like playing Martinique or uh,
El
you know,
Salvador. Yeah.
El Salvador. Like it was a good game against El Salvador.
It was,
Um,
but now we're an example.
yeah.
And I think that's that. I mean, yeah, I mean, I hear you. I think that's you're hitting it right on the head. I mean, like, it's one thing, and then, I think we could go into the next group, because I think in the next group we have a Concacaf team, and I think we can. I think towards the end of going through kind of reviewing all the groups, I think we can discuss the Concacaf in depth, because it's alarming, and it really gives us a good reflection about where we are really as a conference, or like a federation, or like a region, because the displays have not been good. And for Qatar to come and then them looking like, prime Brazil out there, Afifi looked like, Ronaldo, El Fenomeno, against El Salvador. Like, Who's that really serving? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think
Yeah.
that has to be put into account.
That's
But
true.
that's kind of my thing. I hope Ecuador gets out. Senegal's going to be a tough game, though.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's going to be a good game to watch. And
I think so
if
too.
Qatar can like pull it together and do something, like it's gonna get interesting. But I hope Ecuador gets out of there. I think they deserve it. But as we've seen in this World Cup, not every team that plays well, and even though they deserve it, they don't get it.
Dude, get off that horse. Oh my
And now,
god. I
we'll
know
get
your
there. We'll
references,
get
boy.
there. We'll get there. We'll
I
get
know
there.
your
We'll get
reference.
there.
I know who you're
You
talking
know who
about, but
you know
I
who I'm
got you.
talking about.
I got it. Go on it right
When
here.
we get there. But so we're gonna go
Loaded,
to
ready to
to,
go.
to group B. Group B is where the USA is in. And I know
Mm.
you and I were talking offline, right? Right, Vin, like about the USA, and I think when we're in this country, right? And I think in this country we get a very specific narrative about the United States and the soccer team, and it really, and I don't know how y'all felt, but it really rubbed me the wrong way, the way that England and that USA game ended. Like it just really rubbed me the wrong way. Like I understand it strategically, but for such a narrative, like wanting to be the best, wanting to always win, when Tyler Adams, your captain, and I'm not the dude had a great game. I'm not saying that because I think he's a great player, but like for my guy to act like he just won the World Cup out of a tie with England is like borderline cringy.
Yeah.
And they outplayed England. And if anything, what I learned out of that game was that the US do not have a killer
Yeah.
up top.
Yep.
Uh, dude, Lalito, you can go ahead if you want.
Yeah,
You can talk.
this is my problem, and this is and big shout out to our other co-host Sam.
Yeah.
I wish he was
Hey,
here.
yeah. Uncle Sam.
Uncle, Uncle Sam.
Uncle
I wish he
Sam.
was
There
here
he is.
because
Yeah,
I don't want to. I want him to defend his team, but
of
he's not
course.
here. I'm just gonna take you know 3 shots here. Um, I think the U.S. has a very small mentality when it comes to soccer. Like, it's very close-minded. You know, this mentality. It's about I'm the best. I could compete. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't. Okay. What I
Simple.
saw against what I saw against Wales, that was the Wales didn't win that match, dude. The US lost that match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Wales. I mean, the US lost to 10 Caniceros and a Gareth Bell in the MLS, dude. Okay.
No, Gareth Bale is one of the carniceros,
No, no,
bro.
no. I'm sorry, but he's not. Okay, he's one of the best signings in the MLS history. Okay, but we're not here
Oh
anyway.
boy.
But
Oh
anyway,
boy.
so the US lost that match. They go in with this mentality of we gotta beat England, which I just love that mentality. But what happened at the end? I saw newscast people saying and fans, oh the fans, baby, the fans celebrating like they just won. Like, dude, you still have a game against Iran, which Iran looked pretty good against Wales.
Mm-hmm.
Recovering from that loss, they look like a different team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed, and I really dislike the fans, and I think we're really not looking at the bigger picture here, and that's my problem that I have with the US, and I firmly believe they're not gonna get through because Iran is gonna give him a reality check.
I mean, if we're being honest, like Iran just needs they out of the three potential results, they need two of them. The U.S. can only get one of them, which is a victory. Um, yeah, dude. I saw the narrative or the message that was just being pushed forward after the game versus England, and it was positive, right? It was far too positive, though. It was delusional, and that's the thing
Mm,
that frustrates me. Like, you know, if the U.S. wants to get better, they need to go for it. And you were talking about the end of the game against, and the way they played against Wales is like that. Everyone's like that first half. They looked so good. They looked good in the first half, but they were playing Wales, dude. With the Gareth Bale that's 33 years old and been ravaged by injuries, he barely plays for LAFC. You know,
Hey,
like
have some
I mean,
respect,
nobody
okay?
wants to talk about that. You know what I'm
Have
he's
some
saying? Like,
respect with
semi-retired.
the guy, okay?
No, he's semi-retired. He's been an
Whoa.
incredible resume, like incredible resume. And if this was 2016 Wales when he single-handedly took them far into the Euro Cup, that'd be different. He was competing for Ballon d'Oro there, and he was at Real Madrid. He was a stud. But now
doing
it's like,
bicycle kicks in
yeah, like
finals. You know what I'm
he had
saying?
everything. But this Gareth Bale, dude, the man can barely move. And
Yeah.
and my boy Zimmerman goes in there to
No.
crashes on him.
No.
Anyways, so I thought it was a terrible outing. I thought like, oh, Wales time, drawing 1-1 against Wales isn't should not be the barometer now. Like if the goal is to actually get to the quarterfinals, then tying 1-1 to Wales is not the standard.
Yeah.
And then against England, you're absolutely right. They don't have a striker. My boy Wright, is that who was, I think that's
Yeah.
who was
Yeah.
playing
Yeah.
a striker.
Yeah.
bro.
Get him out of
You
there.
got that? Yeah, get him out
Get
of
him
there.
out
But
of there, dude.
if you're gonna play, you're a big dude. You're a lone striker. You're a big dude. Go bang on them. Go
Yeah.
bang on those center
They got
backs.
Harry
Hold the
Maguire.
ball.
The
Yeah,
man's
yeah.
not
Yeah, like
even playing. Like,
as soon as the ball gets launched up into the air, you go bang on those fools so that they can feel like, oh, this dude's gonna be here all game. And even if you're obviously not technically that good, we can kind of see that, but that's not your game. That's totally fine. But be a nuisance there. Be constantly.
pester him, man.
Yeah,
Bother him,
exactly.
man. Make Harry Maguire make the mistakes that we know
He
he's
was
gonna make.
invisible. He was invisible. Um,
I
and
mean, I'm
so
getting heated now. I'm getting heated now.
and then at the end of the game, they have a chance to throw the ball. They have a set piece and they have a chance to kick it into the box. And it's going to be the last play of the game. There's no more plays after this,
Yeah.
And what do they decide to do? Run it out to the corner flag. What
And
is that?
you
Dude?
see Berhalter go like this.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
right where we
calm it
want
down.
him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This is what I
Watch
wanted.
this.
We
Watch
won.
this.
Yeah. And I just think you said like small team mentality, Lalita. Yeah, that's true. Like, dude, Brazil in that instance, they're not throwing it out to the corner kick. And I'm not saying that the US is Brazil, but I'm saying if you aspire to one day be a great national team, like this type of stuff that you're showing, this mentality that you're showing, I I just it baffles me, cuz people talk about progress, but it's like we missed 8 years so that we could come to the World Cup and draw 1-1 against Wales. Where's the progress? Where's the progress? Like 2002 was the last time that the US had a good World Cup. So, and I understand other teams are getting better, but you know, um,
It's
yeah,
still no
I mean,
excuse
and
though for what
yeah,
it
and
yeah,
let's
is.
be honest. I mean, the U.S. on paper they look good. I mean, I think it's on paper they look good, but you're right. They don't have a killer.
yeah, that's true.
Your boy, ¿cómo se llama? The guy from Juventus,
McKinney.
McKinney,
McKinney, dude, he's such a beast. He plays such a great
Oh,
game
he's a good
against England.
player.
he's a good player.
He commanded the every time he took the ball, danger happened to in the England defense.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's crazy because I mean, on the other end, you had Jude Bellingham, which everyone's been singing praises
Mhm.
about. You
Right.
know that he's going to be sold to Liverpool for over 100 million, and you have this player that is seen like as like the next big thing in the center midfield for England. Part of that is overhyped because England tends to overhype their players, but like Weston McKinney made that dude almost irrelevant in the game. Like he didn't even like it didn't. I didn't even see Jude Bellingham like do anything. So,
Me neither.
props to Weston McKinney. I think him and Tyler Adams had really good
Tyler
games.
Adams is really good.
Yeah, he's good. He's super calm. He's super calm on the ball. He's directing players. I mean, I think like the team itself is not bad. I think Anthony Robinson's a great left back. I think he's probably not going to be at Fulham much longer. I think the way he's playing like this.
Mhm.
But I think it's in these moments though that I wish like a player like Pulisic would, I don't know, turn it up a little bit
Mhm.
more. Turn it up a little, show us that you're that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I just feel like he kind of ghosts in these moments. And I think that, you know, it to me it just really showed like while he can like, he makes those diagonal runs and he can get in there and he had a shot on goal and he hit the post. Um I don't know. I just feel like there's just something missing there from him that I need. You know what I'm saying? Like, but on England's side, if we go on that side, they look bad
They looked
in that
really
game.
bad against the US.
They look really bad, and Southgate has been getting a lot of flack. He's been had a lot of flack since the Euros and before, like for the way that he's playing England. It just baffles me how he doesn't play Foden.
Yeah, it's
I'm like,
crazy.
why is he not playing Foden? It just
Crazy.
baffles my mind that this man cannot get any game time.
Crazy, bro. Like at one point, um like okay, Mason Mount, get him out of there. Um Phil Well,
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, Phil Foden, along with Jude Bellingham, um, they are the two biggest like talents coming out of England. You could argue Trent is there, but Trent is great at a
Reece
couple of
James is better
things.
though.
Yeah, Reece James he's so complete. I
Yeah,
would I would say he's more complete. Um, but yeah, you got to put Phil Foden in, man.
give at least some playing time. Give him some time. You know what I'm saying? Like, give him a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, eh, I'm gonna say it, dude, because I think Saka is overrated. You know what I'm saying? Every time
Oh,
I see this fool
oh,
playing,
oh,
everyone tells me everyone.
oh,
I know, I know,
no.
I know.
You know who
You're
you're
an
talking
Arsenal fan.
to?
I
Hey,
know.
get him a yellow card, man. Give him a
I
yellow
don't. I
card.
don't have my
Jeez,
sound effects here. I don't have my
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
whistle. I don't got that.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
sorry, dude. Like I
Oh.
I'm not saying he's a bad player at all. I think he's a good player, but people I just don't think they're on the same level, and I think he could play there. Like, he could play on the right wing. I think Rashford will never be a bona fide starter, in my opinion. He is always gonna be a super sub.
Yeah, it's my
He's got
guy,
the pace
man.
to burn.
Yeah,
Yeah. But he's a good player, Rashford,
yeah,
he's a good player. But the player that they have on that team, like if you laid out the English national team and you went to all the top clubs in the world and said you can pick two players from here, they're all taking Foden and they're taking Bellingham,
of
you
course.
know. Um, and so to me, it's like I agree. I think Foden needs to be playing. He's talented, and you know what, England, this is it. Like, you're not getting another chance because you don't have another striker in the back burner. And
No.
coming up, you got
No.
Harry Kane, and he's 29, 30 years old. All right, at 34, bro, he's not gonna be doing it. And so,
Yeah,
um, you gotta put your chips on the table, dude. If you want to win a World Cup, you gotta say, you know what, I'm putting, like we say in Spanish, right? Toda la carne al asador.
yeah,
You know, Brazil in 2002 with Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, right? They weren't playing around. Um,
yeah,
France in 2018, they had Mbappe, they had Griezmann. Um, I'm trying to remember the other. I know they had Giroud up there, but they also had. I'm trying to remember their other striker. Point is, you got to put your chips on the table because after this, you're not coming back to the World Cup to be like a certified contender.
mm,
Yeah. To me, what's interesting about England. So we saw, England destroying Iran 5-2,
yeah,
and then you go against the US, and it was like completely two different teams. I mean, I know I don't want to take credit away from the US, but just they just look without ideas. They look so like lost. You have your boy Harry Kane. I mean, he had a couple chances, but then most of the time he was defending.
Hmm.
You know, so I don't know. It's
it was
it's it's
crazy to
crazy,
me.
but you've seen this trend throughout the World Cup, right? You have these teams that are just this, like, they get destroyed in the first match, like Costa Rica, and then
Uh-huh.
the next season, then in the next game, you you win.
Yeah,
Dude, because the sport has in a way become something else. It's gone to a different level, not necessarily better or worse, but where now the great equalizer is athleticism. And so um you can have players that touch the ball, they're great, they have a lot of quality, they can do all these like 1-2s, they have great touch, great skill, but you put them up against 11 dudes that are highly athletic, they may dominate the possession, but that team's going to give them a run for their money.
yeah,
Um, and we can talk about other teams, I guess, that show that. But I think because of that, like that athleticism, if you just don't have that power, that speed, you're gonna struggle. Like, long gone are the days where you could just show up to the game having slept 2 hours, out of shape, and dribble through everyone and score. You
yeah.
know, now you need to be an athlete.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I
Definitely.
think yeah, yeah, it's crazy because I think England. I mean, I was really surprised by how much they were letting the U.S. kind of just have the ball. Like, I was really surprised by that, and just like the just kind of like the almost like nonchalant aspect. Like their players just look kind of nonchalant. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just like, well, we won the first game, and we'll take whatever comes out of this one. Uh, and in the end, it's not a bad result for them. I think that they won out of this. To me, like like the U.S. is who really lost, and it just kind of baffles me that they're like, oh, they celebrate like Iran's gonna be easy. And when you're talking about athleticism and like physicalness, like Iran to me, they look like for real 11 carniceros. Like those are 11 leñeros out there. Like I don't know if y'all saw that Wales game. I mean, that was a wrestling match.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
that was
was. That was
WWE, man. I was
bad.
waiting to see. I was waiting to hear
That was bad.
JR commentate.
Yeah. Classic.
Oh my god,
He came out of nowhere, dude. Yeah.
he has a
Ooh.
family. Like it was craziness. So I want to see what they're gonna do against the U.S. that are kind of fragile. I think they're fragile physically, and they're also kind of fragile mentally. You know, like I'm interested to see what happens because these are young players and they're not like they just kind of seem immature, really, of the moment.
So I have a question for you guys before we move on to Group C. Um, could this U.S. team be considered la generación dorada for the U.S. or no?
Mm. It's hard to tell because I think they're still younger, 23, 24. So I think the it's hard to say because we'll see if there are younger players coming up in the next year or two that are gonna be even better than the players that they have now. But
So
that
right
being
now,
said,
so with
right
so
now, not being able
you
to
you
look
completely
into
avoid
the
my question.
future,
Yeah, no, right now, this team right now.
uh, yeah, I think this is like
Yeah,
the best team they've had,
the
Ever,
history.
technically ever. I mean,
ever, yeah.
take a certain player from another national team, whether it's an Alexi Lalas, a Dempsey, or a Landon Donovan, but like those are singular pieces. This, in terms of the roster of players that they have, I think it's the best
They,
one they've had.
they have the potential to be remembered. I think that to me is like what kind of strikes me about this team. Like they have the opportunity to be remembered. There was an interview that I think it was Pulisic and Ben Chilwell from Chelsea, and they asked Ben Chilwell like, "Well, what do you think about some American players? What did you think about Clint Dempsey?" And he's like, "Sorry,
I don't
mate,
even know who that
I don't
is.
know who that
Yeah.
is." And
Okay.
Fuck me.
Clint Dempsey is considered to me one of my favorite players from the U.S.
Yeah, I think he's the
And
best US player of all
probably
time,
the best U.S. player of all time. Arguable, Landon Donovan could also be in that conversation, arguably.
arguably.
But I think that this core group of young dudes, like I think they have the potential to be remembered, and I
Mhm.
think that is something different that the U.S. hasn't really had, like. So I do think it's the golden generation, but we'll see because we will talk about another golden generation very shortly, and we'll see
Oh.
what happens to that golden generation and how they're going to be
No.
remembered. But let's
Really
go move
quick,
on to Group C.
anything on Wales?
I mean,
Well, no,
Like,
they're.
I'm
I think.
sorry. The Welsh are
They're-
happy. They're proud. They should be that they made it into the. And honestly, the game against England, obviously, it has like a lot of,
history.
yeah. So that's gonna be like a big game for them. And I think they're just enjoying the ride. Like they're,
That's all it is.
yeah.
We're happy to
They're like,
be here. And you
they're
know
like,
what?
we don't even
Now
know
that
how
you're
we got
saying that,
here.
though, now that you're saying that, real quickly, it pisses me off that Gareth Bale came to take a vacation at LAFC because the whole thing was like, I'm going to take care of myself for the World Cup,
That's true.
you know?
He did say
And
that.
I'm like, it just makes me upset because it's like, yeah, you're there for the ride. Let's
Yeah.
quit lying to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The dude, he's checked out. And you know what? Also, his body's probably failing him. Um, and that's why I admire someone like Tony Kroos, who was like, I'm gonna retire from the game before the game retires me. And he quit the national team. And now people have been saying like, "Oh, Toni Kroos should be playing for Germany," and he's just chilling. He's like, "You know what, man? I retired at 28," which is like crazy to think, but he just, he thought that was the right thing to do. So, um, yeah,
There are
you
three
gotta know
old
when.
dudes at this World Cup that I'm like, you shouldn't be here. Or
Yeah,
three dudes that shouldn't be here: Gareth
Yeah,
Bale, Eden Hazard, and Luis Suarez.
I don't know about
Three.
Hazard, but Suarez is
Nah, they're there
pretty
for.
good.
They got a free ticket, dude. And I'll
man,
talk about Hazard when I get there because.
I got someone else on that list that
Oh,
I ain't gonna say him
I'm
right
not
now,
gonna say, okay,
but
let's
because
go to Group
he
C,
gets so much heat.
which is probably one of my favorite groups so far. Um, which is the Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland group. I mean, this group. You said it was the Grupo de la Muerte. I don't know. I don't think that I still think that the group I picked is Grupo de la Muerte, but this is a damn. This is a fucking competitive ass group, other than Mexico. But even then, they have a chance.
They're the Qatar, yeah, of
They're
the
the Qatar of
Group
this
C.
group. They won't admit it. You know, the Mexico fans would not admit it. There's been reports that the Mexican fans are in uproar right now because Messi supposedly stepped on the jersey. Did you catch that?
Yeah, Canelo came on and
Yeah. I'm trying to find the video or
me too. I can't find
the
it
picture,
anywhere.
and I can't find it. So I'm wondering where the hell Canelo got it.
I
Yeah,
saw it, and
Oh, you saw it.
they
Okay.
I
really kicked
did.
it.
I mean, I honestly, I think it's just, I think Canelo is just reaching a little bit. Um, I like Canelo. I'm a fan of his, but I do think, Mexicans were upset. I have a friend who was raging, like after the game, and they're upset. So it's understandable that you look for things to like that can indignate you, and I think this is one of those where if you squint and you kind of have like you're already looking for something to piss you off, I could see like why it would piss you off. But when you really take a cold hard look at the video, you're like, I don't know, but that's up for interpretation. I guess Lalito, the Mexican here, you go ahead and take the floor, dude.
I saw two different videos on TikTok about two different fans, right? The fans are like, we're gonna beat, we're gonna beat Polonia, we're gonna beat, you know, Arabia Saudita, and then we might tie Argentina. And the other fans are like, vamos a ser ridículo, why are we even there, like, you
They look
know,
like they were right. No, I'm just playing. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Well, here's my thing, right? And yeah, it does hurt to see La Selección like in this stage, right, where they have no goals, they haven't created chances, but
They
we
don't
knew
even look
that from the get
close.
go.
They don't even look
We
close to scoring a goal.
come on, el free kick de Alexis Vega, that was
Nah, Emmy read
like
that, dude.
anyway.
Come on.
Yeah.
I just feel that there's a deeper problem, right? Because if we talk about what's going on with Mexico, it's not Tata Martino, it's not el Tena or all the coaches that have come before, that we have destroyed them all. That's
Yeah.
not the main problem, dude. I mean, we had a team. If we look at 2018, who was left from that team? Because supposedly, in my opinion, the best World Cup that Mexico has had in the last 10 years, 20 years, I would say, is the 2014 in Brazil. They look like a contender, like a good. I mean, they destroyed Croatia. Croatia was also in their prime. They they held the tie against Brazil. Which Brazil was they were going to win the World Cup. You know, so that was a really good performance to me. That stood out to me from the last 20 years. And I feel like Mexico hasn't really produced anything since then, right? They just continue with the same formula. And you know who's here to blame? Not Tata Martino. It's the La Federación Mexicana. Because they're the ones that are allowing. Because, I mean, you got to look at the bigger picture. I mean, if you look at Liga MX, you have so many extranjeros coming in that play over Mexicanos. Like, the only few teams that play Mexicanos are Pachuca and some teams here and there. But the majority of the Liga is full of extranjeros, Argentinos, Colombianos, but no Mexicans. What does that translate? It translates to you have no uh, resources to feed the national team, which this is what we're seeing right now. Which we're playing Guardado. I mean, Guardado is I think it's a legend. Guardado is a legend.
Fuck.
Mexicano, but he should not be there, guys. He shouldn't be there.
That's another guy added to the
You
list.
know, he should not be there. Herrera should not be there. See, I'm telling you, this is a team that we keep putting our hopes since 2014 because 2014 was the foundation, right? You had Bella, Charito, Herrera in his prime. So many players that were playing in Europe were in that team. And now, how many players, Mexican players, currently right now in this national team are actually playing in Europe? They're actually playing. Very few.
Mm-hmm.
Chucky Lozano, but Chucky Lozano can't do it all. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Herrera is in the MLS. Dude. He's about to retire. Guardado, dude, should be retired.
I know, man.
So I think it's a reality check, and I think we really have to look at the structure of the Federación Mexicana because I think they keep doing things wrong because you have all these teams that are progressing, and I do feel that CONCACAF, I mean, I think is the worst league compared to the other regions in the world, but you see
Mhm.
progress. You see other teams that are progressing, except Mexico. Mexico staying behind because they feel that the jersey is going to win the games. La Historia is going to win the games, and they
Mhm.
almost didn't make it to this World Cup. They did not look convincing.
Yeah, I mean,
I rest my case.
I I understand what you're saying, and like it's a structural problem. Obviously, it's passionate subject for you. I think the the approach, the template that Mexico has to take is um they have to start developing young talent that goes overseas at a young age. Like I I don't think if the national team is filled with Liga MX players that are good in the domestic league, it's going to translate to a uh good showing at these international tournaments. I think when you look at teams that are successful, um, that I think Mexico could model themselves after are Brazil, Argentina, some of the African countries, you know, because England, yeah, England's going to be great. They have a great domestic competition. They can afford to have players play in their country and pick from those players. But Brazil, if Brazil was playing with, if Neymar stayed at Santos his whole life and Vinicius at Flamengo and Militao at Sao Paulo, like Thiago Silva stayed, they wouldn't be as competitive if Mane stayed in Senegal. If we're going back, Drogba stayed in Ivory Coast. If Eto'o stayed in Cameroon, so I think uh, Mexico needs to really invest into the grassroots part of it where they have talented players. What they need is not just talented players, but players that are willing to be extremely disciplined so that when they go overseas, they're ready to battle for a spot
Yeah.
because it is cutthroat. And I think that approach would serve them better in the long run. Um, because I don't know if I see Mexico having like a good competitive team, or at least a team that can do very well in international tournaments if they're filled with like players from the Liga MX. Um,
Yeah.
that's just my point of view. Like you're
And
playing Conca champions, you're playing against FAS Aguila, you're playing against Los Cremas, like you know, um, it's a different standard.
and I'm gonna give you an example of that where it was on full on display. So there comes a point in the Argentina game where Tata has realized like, oh shit, the the plan has gone off fucking the
Let's
rails.
just
Yeah.
The train has gone off the rails, and now I need to team the attack, and that is where they got in trouble, right? Because it's like, well, in the qualifiers they had struggled scoring goals. Their players are not in form, and for the whole game, he's told them, and it's very clear from minute one in that fucking shitty ass first half that their instructions were let Argentina have the ball. We're gonna absorb it, and we're gonna hope and pray Chucky and Alexis Vega do something up there, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yep.
There comes a point where he has realized, and it baffles me as to why he takes Chucky out. And I've been defending Tata. I've been defending Tata. I've said that he's probably the best coach that they've ever had on paper.
Mhm.
Me personally,
Yeah.
he 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 takes out Chucky, and it baffles me because he then puts in Piojo Alvarado.
Too.
Piojo Alvarado has a chance at the end of the game to center the ball. All his defenders and everybody's up in the box. My guy can't make it.
Can't do it.
Touchdown, bro.
He couldn't do
Can't
it.
win with them.
He can't do it, dude. He couldn't reach the box, and that's not saying that like he can't do it. And Chivas, I'm sure he's pretty good in Chivas, but we need something else. It's not Piojo Alvarado up there. It's not you know. I'm sorry, but you just cannot have that in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially in a moment like that, where you have potentially a chance. You know what I'm saying? And it was just kind of on display there. And I know he was an ex Cruz Azul player, so I mean, maybe
Oh no,
that
we
had
don't.
something to
Yeah,
do with it.
no,
and
no.
and you need and honestly, and you need a striker that's gonna bang them in, like not necessarily a Haaland or a Lewandowski, but a striker that's gonna bang them in, and uh, talent that is, yeah, like Ariel said, you bring on El Piojo, and you're going up against different animals now in this tournament.
Yeah,
Players with different experience, different pedigree, and it's something that you don't see on a consistent basis because you're playing, with all due respect, like in the CONCACAF, whether it's like we said against Municipal or whether it's against even Monterrey or something. And at minute 60, everyone is gassed.
yeah.
Everyone is gassed. The game breaks open in the Mexican League, not just the Mexican League, but we're using that as an example. In the European competitions, rarely, dude. Minute 85, these dudes are still sprinting like animals. Alfonso Davies is a great example of that. I mean, I'm sure we could get to that later, but um, there's a there's just a whole different set of skills that you develop when you go overseas, and you can bring it back to your national team. You know, um,
I mean, Chucky
and
is a
so
great example of that. I mean, Chucky, when he gets the ball, I mean, you could just tell the kid has ideas, And I
yeah,
think you look at a kid like Alexis Vega, that I think has the talent to actually go, and you just hope that he has kind of what you were saying, the discipline and kind of like the mentorship to actually succeed there. Because I think he's probably the only one that came out looking good out of this World Cup for Mexico. But let's leave Mexico behind. They're in shambles.
all of that to say, dude, really quick,
Uh-huh.
they can still go through.
They can still
They
No,
go
no,
go.
through.
they can't. No, they can't.
They smash, dude.
Numerically,
They're not.
Argentina is not going to go out to tie against Poland. They want first place because they don't want to face France in the
that's
round of
exactly what.
16.
So let's jump into Argentina. I mean, Argentina to
Okay.
me has been one of the surprises, right? Of how badly they've started this tournament, and people are singing praise. See, what I love about this World Cup is that there is just such an overreaction to anything that happens, right?
Mhm.
I was seeing it
That's the name of the
everywhere on
game.
Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. Messi and his fucking magic and his magical foot, and and all this shit. And I'm like, the man has been walking. He's on a walking tour in Qatar, and he hasn't even been like. And that's not to put it all on Messi, but I also want to just bring up the fact that Argentina have no ideas, and it came up really clearly in the Saudi Arabia game, where if Messi's not on or if Messi can't produce something, they're done. They
Yeah.
don't know how, they don't know where the hell this goal is coming from. And
Mm-mm.
their midfielders are so attached to giving Messi the ball that they miss passes. Adi Maria was the only one creating some penetration against Gallardo on the right side. And it took forever to then finally give him the ball because they were so focused on giving the ball to Messi. And it was Adi Maria who gave the pass to Messi. Nobody wants to talk about my dog. But my dog was killing it, and then and then that's how the goal came up. But
Mhm.
yeah, Argentina has not been looking good. Why is Otamendi there? I don't know. Why is De Paul there? I don't know. Like it's just in shambles. Some of these players, you know what I'm saying? Like they have not been looking. To me, I had them as winning it. I'm starting to
Mm.
go back on this.
Yeah, no.
Nah, there's one clear cut favorite above the rest, I think. But now to your point, dude, let's be honest. And these two are joined at the hip, so you mentioned one, it's very easy to mention the other. But Messi and Cristiano, they're not the same. Especially my guy Cristiano, right? Like
Mhm.
that he is definitely not the same, which is understandable, you know. I mean, one's 35, the other's 37. Um, but Messi, he still has quality. Don't get me wrong. You give that dude a yard of space, and he can still punish you, and that's what he did. Like, people were giving the Mexican defenders shit. My dad was telling me, you know, they need to close him down. Dude, the guy had the ball on his foot for less than a second. I mean, it was he controlled it, and in the same control, he like oriented himself to take the shot, and he ripped it immediately. It was just boom, boom. Like it wasn't like he was taking his time, and you could go out there and block it. So you know, he still obviously has a lot of quality. He's got that terrific left foot. He's got a great football mind, but um, yeah, he's not the same guy, you know. And one of the things when you play with these type of players, that these younger players, not necessarily that they're younger now, but they grew up admiring him. Uh, they want to pass the ball to him all the time because there's such a respect for him. And the same happens with Cristiano. If you watch him at Manchester United, everyone tried to get him the ball, even if it was like the play didn't ask for it, and it might even hurt you in some ways. They still tried to get it to him, and so I definitely think there is that Messi dependency, and unfortunately, he's not the Messi of 2010, 2014. He still can do a lot, but he's just he's not the same player. It's obvious. And like you said, I do like Messi. I'm a fan of his. I think he's an incredible player. In my eyes, he's the best to ever do it. Um, but these these yeah, these folks, every time like one thing is done, in the game, a singular moment, it's like, there he is. Of course, he shows up. This man's carrying Argentina. And you can make the argument that he is because that's how bad Argentina's been. But I wanted to say one thing. They got two players that they're gonna have to start introducing. Like they're gonna have to ride these two players besides Messi, and that's Enzo Fernandez and Julian Alvarez. Uh, those two players, I think they're the ones that they're gonna have to rely on a lot more if they want to like really make crazy noise.
Yeah. This group is interesting. It's going to be interesting. Um, a tight group. Who do y'all think is making it out of this group? And then we can go to the next group.
I think Argentina and Mexico, dude. I think
Wow.
Oh,
I
okay.
I think dude, I think if they lose to Saudi Arabia, they can't go back to Mexico.
Dude, what are you talking about? Saudi looks really good. I think
Dude,
I think Argentina and Poland are making it out.
The same. I think Argentina and Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
we
All
shall
right.
see.
All right.
The
Next
next
group.
one.
Next group. And we can kind of go fast so we can start
Get to
ending
other
this
one.
thing. Well, this next group is kind of an interesting one. It's kind of well, it's not necessarily interesting. This is exactly the way I thought it was gonna go, where France is just kind of steamrolling by these teams. Um, and I guess the question that I do have to pose for y'all, and this is really the only thing that's really of interest, at least to me, and unless y'all think of something else in this group, is Mbappe the best player at this tournament?
Yeah, it's not close, bro. It's not close. The dude looks like prime Ronaldo Nazario. Like I
Really? Really?
dude, there's no one like who's close to him. It ain't Messi, and I think Messi's great. It ain't my boy Cristiano. It's not Neymar. Um, yeah, I don't know who else you could throw out there. It's not Harry Kane. Like, it's Mbappe. There was a play this dude had against Denmark where he knows that they pass it to him. He's playing with his back to goal like at his own half basically, and with a touch outside of the boot, he twists the defender, and the defender kicks him, whacks him, does nothing to him. He just goes. He takes off, and he starts running at the goal. That's prime. That's prime R9. Like, yeah, the dude is the best player. And simply because of that, they're the favorites to win it. If he wasn't on, if they had two Dembeles instead of Dembele and Mbappe, or if Coleman was playing
Yeah,
for Mbappe, you know, they're just another good team. But that dude is,
he's
yeah, he's
taking them to
different
that
gravy.
next level. You think?
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, I was wrong because I said this team wasn't even going to make it out of the group because I
Yeah, me
said
too.
I believed in the curse, and a part of me still believes in the curse. I think yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he's amazing. I mean, you watch him; it's such a honor to see him because he's so it just comes with such ease,
Yeah.
and he's just making these teams look like nothing. I mean, there's that clip of him not even touching the ball, and he's like breaking an ankle of a defender. I don't know
That
if y'all
tells
Yeah.
seen
you
that.
how much they're thinking of him.
Yeah,
Like, if he
exactly.
even gets one step on me, I'm done. So they overcommit to anything he does.
Mm.
Uh,
So yeah, I mean, the dude he's on fire, and I'm curious to see what other teams are gonna do. I'm kind of disappointed in Denmark though. If I had to say anything else about this group, is
Really?
Denmark has been disappointing. They have not been as convincing as I thought they would be. I thought they had a good Euros. I thought they have a pretty good team. They have an exciting team, but
No, they don't.
easy or what?
yeah.
No, they don't. Dude, no,
Yeah, honestly,
no.
if you switch Denmark with Norway, now we're talking. You know what I'm saying? But Norway didn't do their homework. They didn't make it. But I think, Denmark's punching above their waist in this
Yeah, I
tournament.
think this is the
I think
I
that's
think the worst
Australia.
group. I think France is just cruising,
Yeah, they're
cruising.
cruising. I
Yeah.
mean, and the fact that Australia is in second,
You
it
should,
tells us a
exactly.
lot
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Australia did not look good. I mean, they actually did
No,
score a goal though against France, which it looked like they were
they look
surprising.
good. They look
So
really good in the first 15 minutes, and then they lost it.
Yeah.
They lost
yeah. So what do y'all think is making it out of this group? I don't know if you want anything else. I mean, Tunisia doesn't really
it.
look like they look
No,
horrible, unfortunately.
I I would love Australia to make it second. They
Yeah.
have a chance,
So it
I
looks
think
like
but
I think it might
would
be.
this be the first time Australia make a group a team from uh what's from Oceania? ¿Cómo se llama esa region?
Yeah, Oceania. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
would be
Asian.
would that be the first time?
No, no,
That,
no. South
no.
Korea made it. Um, back in
no, but
2002.
oh really?
Hmm.
Yeah. Anything else do y'all think about
That's
this
it.
group?
That's it. Group
Nah.
E.
Group E. This is my group. This is my grupo de la muerte. Um, I mean, the biggest surprise to me, if I'm being honest with you, is because I'm eating a lot of shit, and I was completely wrong. When I said that the most boring game. You see, and I'm gonna take accountability here because it takes a great deal of humility to admit that you're wrong, and I want to just apologize to our listeners that I said this, but I did say that the most boring game of the World Cup was gonna be Spain versus Costa Rica,
Ooh.
and I was deeply incorrect, deeply incorrect, and I still find Spain pretty boring,
Same.
but I'm actually deeply impressed by how like good their young players are. But I will say this with a caveat: like, is it that Spain is good, or is it that the other teams are just really bad? And I think it's a mix of both. I think Spain is on the front end. It's almost like you're putting lipstick on a pig. While is the group is not necessarily strong, but it's strong enough to be competitive.
Oh yeah.
And I think Spain is looking better than what it actually is because you're going up against a Costa Rica that has no teeth. no fucking diente, in a Germany that is struggling to rebuild. You're
Yeah.
catching Germany in a moment in time when
Mhm.
Musiala is only what? How old is he? He's like
19.
19.
Yeah.
19. This kid is fucking one of the
He's
best players at this tournament, and
Yeah.
you're not even seeing him at his prime. So
yeah.
I hope this fucking kid comes back and just fucking tears them up, when he gets older, because like Spain, you could just see it in their face, and maybe this is just my bias, but you can just see it that they're just so like arrogant about like the way that they're kind of steamrolling teams, and I'm just like, ah, God,
You guys,
I hope that they just meet a fucking truck in the fucking next fucking stage that'll just fucking put them in their
did
place.
you
But that's
guys
me though.
catch the Telemundo? Who was? Because I was watching the Germany game today, and Telemundo had a special guest. Who was it? Hierro.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
No, oh my god, I couldn't stand that guy. He was just claiming
He's
to being the best of the best. This team, and every time we try to point out a mistake, no. Spain, no, ese no fue un error. Ese no
They're
fue un
not.
error de
No,
Spain.
no, no, no. They're not defending bad. They're
No,
defending
yeah, no,
pretty good.
no,
that's what
no,
you want them to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just so I'm a very anti-European like person. I don't like Europeans to win tournaments. I want to stay on this side. Always Brazil, Argentina, any other team except the US, of course. But
Mexico one day.
yeah, Mexico one day, hopefully, when we have enough Ugos and Rafa Marquez, that's when we're winning. But anyway, so there were points where Spain had controlled the ball, and then there was just nothing happening. It was just too many passes, like the old classic España, too many touches on the ball, and just no, they no pasaban. You know, the goal came. I mean, on a great counter attack, from I think it was a throw in.
Hmm.
But other than that, there was no real danger on on the German. Like there was not enough danger to me. There was not enough danger for me to say, oh, you know what, this Spain team is gonna take the World Cup. It's just
Yeah,
not.
I think the thing with Spain is they have a great coach, um, and that style of play that they've bought into. They've bought into that style of play.
Man.
That they really believe they own that style of play. Like this is tiki taka, and so because it's almost like a part of their idiosyncrasy, like they always go out to execute that play. Like they go onto the field and believe we're gonna dominate possession and we'll play 4 or 5 more extra passes in the back just to show you that we dominate possession. And that style of play, even though it's I find it boring. Like um, yeah, okay, you can pass the ball around, and there are times where you string some passes together and it looks great. But I love the incisive play, the dudes running at defenders, the back and forth. That's
Yeah.
what I like. That said, they don't have a number 9. They don't have a striker. They beat up Costa Rica, where quite frankly, like half those dudes shouldn't be at the World Cup. Costa Rica probably shouldn't be at the World Cup. This is more an indictment on CONCACAF,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
um
That we're sending teams like this.
yeah,
Hey, but
exactly.
Shame on you, CONCACAF.
guys, Costa Rica is the only team from the CONCACAF that has won a
Bro,
game.
because yeah,
You know,
because the you're right. Even though it was like simply because the ball slipped through the goalie's fingers from like Japan.
no, it doesn't matter. This is the only team that has won. The team
Okay.
that we all were like,
They
oh, they shouldn't be here.
They're
The bunch
also
of
the only one that
retires.
got 7 goals put on them.
Yeah,
They have the most goals against, I think, in the tournament, off of one game. So, it's again, that's more an indictment on Costa Rica, the CONCACAF. But dude, that style that Spain has is gonna make it difficult for teams to play against. They did well in the Euros because of it. Quite frankly, they probably should have beat Italy in the semifinals. And I think when you look back at teams that had a lot of success against that Spanish national team, it's teams that have explosive speed. Uh, when they got smashed by the Netherlands in 2014, Robin was tearing them apart. and they had a prolific goal scorer in Robin Van Persie. So, Robbie Van Persie. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far they can go. I actually think they can go pretty far,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't have said that heading into the World Cup.
Me neither. I had them not even making it out of this group
Yeah. Yeah.
just because of
Oh my God, who did you have making out of the group?
I had Japan and
Japan.
Germany.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had Japan and Germany going out. Which I thought was gonna happen because Japan, surprised everybody
They
with that
fumbled the
win,
bag.
and it's just Saudi Arabia and Japan just really dropped the bag. I'm just kind of
Mhm.
upset by that because they really could have sealed the deal with this second game, and they
Yeah.
choked. There should have been no reason why Japan left out of that game with 0 points.
Exactly.
But like I said, Costa Rica doesn't go away.
If you
So-
watch the game like Costa Rica, dude, they're lucky that they won that game. Granted, they won it, like you said, Alito. They're the only team from CONCACAF to win. But man, there were like some shot. They have Keylor Navas too, and you know what? Japan doesn't have Keylor Navas. Bless
That's
my
right.
guy's heart, but he ain't Keylor Navas, and you
Yeah.
could tell that ball went right through his hands.
Yeah. So, it's an interesting group. Who do y'all think is making it out of here? Well, we know Spain's out. I mean, we know Spain's out of there, but who's the second group? What do you think?
Still, I think Germany makes it, dude.
Isn't that good? I think
I would like it to be
was the
Japan,
upset.
but I don't see
Costa Rica's
Japan
gonna
beating
be-
Spain.
I think Costa Rica's gonna pull out of there.
Bro,
What?
with Borges?
No, watching
With
I
Brian
told you
Ruiz?
guys. I had on my
You think,
predictions.
you think Germany's
think-
getting
I think
scared
I-
when they see Brian Ruiz warming up?
Bro, dude, they look so bad. Germany looks terrible. Germany looks terrible.
Germany does look pretty bad,
They
and
look
it's just.
bad, but
But again, I think
well.
it's just they're rebuilding. I mean, they're
Yeah.
rebuilding. And so, next group, and then we'll try to fast track it all so we can get out of here in time. We have Group F, which is surprising. I mean, this is my dark horse. We've been talking about it. Canada's group.
Damn.
This is my dark horse. I think all. So look, like I said, don't bet on
Yeah.
any of these takes that we're taking here because I would have lost you a lot of money. And my group. I mean, I was a Canadian for this tournament, and my Canadian flag has been put away, and we go down with our heads down because, not heads
Yeah.
down. I think with our heads held high up.
No,
Because
why?
to me, they're
Okay,
the
I
best
want
performing.
you to tell me-
They've been the best performing CONCACAF team. Like to me,
But, oh my
not
God.
results
Did you
wise,
watch the second half?
not
Did you
results
watch the
wise,
second
not
half?
results wise, but playing wise.
No.
To me, they looked, they looked like they were gonna score goals. They just
No,
didn't.
they did not. I don't know where you guys. I don't know what Canada you were watching. I watched a second half playing like a CONCACAF team. Like it was like a display of the CONCACAF carniceros that are just don't know what's going on, leaving so many spaces. Croatia is a team that didn't have
Heavy veterans.
They're still rebuilding. Half the team is like over 30. And I think because they won because of the mistakes that Canada was making, which it was.
Well, Canada had to go for the goal. Like they knew that they needed to score a goal,
Yeah.
so they had to leave themselves open. So I don't want to knock them on that. I think that they came out of the gates, fucking hit them in the face, and they got that early goal, first goal in Canada's history. Come on, man, we made history this World Cup. So I don't want to knock my team, but then it kind of got derailed. It's unfortunate because I think that the coach, while I admire this, what the coach said. Did y'all see what he said after
No,
the
what
first
he
game?
said.
Where he was like, "Well, now I told the boys that we got to go just fuck up Croatia now."
Oh.
and let's just say that the Croatian players in the post game conferences brought it back, and they're like, "Well, we
Oh,
showed up
shit.
who we really got fucked up today," and
Eh.
I think that just put a chip on their shoulder, and I think I don't think the coach should have said that publicly, and I think that I'm not saying that that's the whole.
That's probably a
downfall.
figure of speech. Like if
Yeah.
you're not like from here, you probably take it a certain way. Like, you understand that means that they're gonna come and they're gonna bring it to you. But
Yeah.
that's because like we understand they probably took it like, Oh, okay.
I break my
Uh,
leg.
yeah, like they took it,
No, I think they
not
took it as
not
like, oh,
well.
they're gonna beat us. You know what I'm saying? Or they're gonna
Yeah,
just,
like they're gonna smash us.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think the Croatian players, I think Kramaric is the one that said like, yeah, we showed him who got really fucked up today. So, I think you saw a lot of immaturity here, and talking about players that have no business out there. This is my guy, but I mean, my guy's 39. There's no reason.
Hutchinson with the tampon in his nose. He was doing everything. That's a warrior, though, bro.
It's a
He
warrior.
he jammed the tampon in his nose, and he was ready to go to war.
Dude, you saw
I'll
that?
always I'll always respect Hutchinson. Give me 11 Hutchinsons. That's what I
Of
want on the
course,
field.
of course. That's my guy, and I
Yeah.
want to commend Canada. I wish I had the Canadian national anthem because I want to commend them because they had a great qualifier, and I thought they did a great game against Belgium. And for 15 minutes, they had a good game against Croatia,
Yeah.
and it went downhill soonly after that.
Oh my
Yeah, I
god.
think it was like you said, that inexperience, dude, cuz yeah, the score line against Croatia, it's like, that they were looking for the goal. They're like the tying goal. They're exposing themselves a little bit because you have to. Now you have to go forward. There's no tomorrow. So that can happen in the back and forth. Um, but the game against Belgium, they needed that game. They needed that game. And the fact that they just, kind of like the US, where they just need someone that's a clinical striker. Mexico, they need a whole new squad almost, or they
Mhm.
they need they have more problems. Costa Rica, they probably need to start considering whether or not they disabandon the entire soccer federation and just no longer even have a team,
Just,
right?
See how
just
They're
make
they're
just make a rugby team.
Yeah,
dude,
go
come
get
on, guys.
try a different sport.
Come
So
on. Why are we respecting Costa Rica so much? It's the only CONCACAF team that's still alive.
that's
You know,
not
the
the
only
only,
team.
but you're right. They're the
The
ones
only
that
team.
They're the only ones
they
showing
En
signs
el
of life.
grupo de la muerte,
yeah.
according to my host. En el grupo de la muerte. They still have a
Yeah,
chance
no,
to
That's a
qualify.
tough group. I still think it's a tough group.
I think they got heart. I don't question their heart, but when it comes down to like ability, um, like would you be willing to put your house on them that they're gonna go out there and beat Germany? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you
I would
think
put my.
Brian?
I think I would have a better chance with Canada doing that than
Yeah,
Costa Rica.
exactly,
Well,
exactly.
here's my thing with Canada, and props to you, Ariel, for you know waving that flag and feel proud, and I'm proud of you, and I'm very proud.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
But
Salvadorian Canadian.
they did not they disappointed to me. They big disappointment. I think more than the U.S. because we were claiming this is the best. This is we send the best Concacaf team, and we were claiming that this is going to be the team that was going to make it far. Blah blah blah. They destroyed Mexico. They destroyed the U.S. Destroyed the whole Concacaf qualifiers. They get to the big stage and they choke. You know, I mean, whether they play good or not, I mean, I mean, I don't know why we keep saying that they play good. I mean, they did
Lalito,
not
because
play
they
like
did, they
they did
did.
not play well.
They did not choke. They just didn't score a goal. That's
They did
just the
not play well.
reality of it.
They did not play well.
They did play well. I would argue
No,
that they
they did
did. They
not.
played better
No.
than the U.S. and Mexico and Costa Rica.
I
To
would put them
me,
on the same. I would put them on the same group.
it's unfortunate because the score lines tell a different story, and I still think that Canada should leave feeling proud of the performances that they did because no one expected anything from Canada, and now I think that they showed that they got talent there, and that it's not going to be easy for this next World Cup. I don't think people are going to be underestimating Canada. Like, I think Canada is going to be. I think Canada is going to be in a good place next World Cup, better than where Mexico is going to be.
Yeah.
So I think Canada is, bless their souls. I think they were dealt a shitty hand, but let's go to the next teams because I think there's this group is really surprising. So how it's kind of coming out because you see Belgium, and we were talking about the golden generation of the U.S. Well, here we are with the original golden generation of at least our time, which is Belgium, and they look bad. They
Yeah,
look real bad.
in the words of De Bruyne, we're too old, and they are. You know what I'm saying? Like De Bruyne 31, Hazard 31. I don't even know what Batshuayi is, but he looks 31. Um, Bertong, Vertonghen 35. Courtois, obviously still an incredible goalie, but he's 30.
Is he the
Alder
best
Wa
goalie in the world?
Yeah, I think
Thank
he
you.
is. Yeah, I
We got
think
it.
he
We got
is.
it on tape. There you go.
Yeah,
Another person added to that list.
yeah.
Sam doesn't
That
think so.
Oh no, that's a
You still
definite.
don't know who he thinks the
Who
best
he
goalie is.
thinks, huh?
He doesn't know.
Gotcha. He
He
thinks
doesn't
it's
know.
the
He just
yeah,
knows that Courtois not
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Alder Warel, like holy fuck, man, he's 35. Also, I think like too old, done, the shell of themselves. Hazard shouldn't be like he shouldn't be starting for this team.
He
You
shouldn't
know what I'm
be
saying?
there.
Yeah, like I don't
Why
even
is he
know.
there?
I don't even know if that's an indictment on the team and how much quality they may lack if they don't have depth. I mean, they
But
were.
they have Trussard. Trussard is good. He's
Oh
a
yeah,
He's a
I heard
fucking
he's.
beast.
Yeah, maybe he should be starting. But I still think
You
you
forgot
bring it.
Lukaku in there.
I mean, come on, bro. What is that? Like, yeah, that makes more
This
my
is space
point
or what?
than any other point that you were maybe trying to make. Uh, I think you take Hazard out, and Belgium
M-
still looks bad. I think.
Mertens 35, Witzel 33.
Yeah, well, Witzel, holy fuck, I forgot about him, dude. Come on now, like,
Menur, Thomas
m-
Menur 31.
yeah, like,
Um,
what is this, dude? You know,
This is the Costa Rica of Europe.
this is a classic case of Carrasco. I mean, it's my guy, but he's just been awful this season.
he's almost 30, right? He's maybe
Yeah, he's
like
almost
29,
30.
30.
So, this is a classic case of el nombre te lleva.
Yeah,
Estamos aquí por el nombre. Like it's just all names. Such a you said it too, Larito, a glass cannon. This is and I don't even know if this
they
cannon
might not
works.
even have a
I
cannon.
don't
This
even
is
know they got a
glass.
No.
cannon.
Yeah,
They look horrendous, It's been really baffling. And then you have on the other side, you have a Croatia team that on paper they also look kind of aging, but they look inspired. They look fucking tough. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like they got a lot of the same players from the last one, and but they look good still.
And the
You know
one
what I'm saying?
before
Like
that.
yeah,
the one before that, and they don't look as like kind of the way like not the state that Belgium is in. So yeah, it's yeah, man. I don't know what's gonna happen to Belgium. This might be it right here. Going back to the
You think so?
normal,
They won't get
back
I
to
mean,
normality.
yeah. This is it. Like we said with England, like this is it. If they don't win it now, they're not winning it anytime soon. At least I think, unless a
Yeah,
striker bursts onto the scene. If Belgium's time was last World Cup, and
yeah.
even the World Cup before that,
Hmm.
2014, 2018, that was your time to make noise. You didn't. Time to move on. Next, your old news. Like,
Yeah, it's
you know what I'm
done.
saying? At the end of the day, it's
It's a
still a
sad
young man's game.
it's a sad sight because I feel like we're just like specifically that team looks like they're just kind of in denial.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like they're just in denial. Like there should be no reason why Hazard is playing. No reason. Because the man has barely getting any minutes in Real Madrid. Like, why is he starting?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many questionable decisions here by the coach, and I don't know if the coach wants to lose his job, and that's why he's
Yeah,
doing
he's
it.
just like, fuck it, I'm
Like, I'm
ready.
done, but they rode that train as far as they could, and they just didn't amount to much. So, but on the
Yeah,
other
they.
hand, you have Morocco that looks exciting, and Ziyech is turning into fucking Ronaldinho out here. So,
I know,
um,
man. Good player. He's got quality.
he
All right, so
does.
real quick, who's getting through on that group?
Um, I think, yeah, I think it's gonna be Morocco and Croatia.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah, same, same.
Yeah, Belgium. No me commenting.
This is like the 2014 Spain, where they just got embarrassed in the group stage, and it was like they had aging players and aging generation. And that's what's
Yeah,
happening to Spain. You know.
yeah. All right, next group, the people's teams to this group, Brazil. I mean, this
Everyone's
group,
second favorite team.
everyone's second favorite team, the people's team. That's what I call them here. Uh, I mean, I mean that first game, Brazil. I mean, they didn't look to me, even though I'm a Brazil fan, they didn't look as convincing as they should have. And I think that we got kind of lucky in a moment of brilliance by one of the most unlikeliest heroes to
Yeah,
me.
never gonna score a goal like that again.
He's
No.
never gonna score another goal like that ever again. We are over, dude. Like the hype on this ridiculous. He gained over 5 million followers on Instagram the next day.
No
Richarlison.
way.
It's like it's so ridiculous how the World Cup can just kind of blast you into this thing where they're just like, I love the memes of Richarlison with the haircut like
Yeah,
Ronaldo.
yeah, exactly.
We just love to blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
Richarlison, disclaimer, is not that good.
Not that good.
He is
Dude.
not that good.
He looked
and
horrific. He looked like he didn't belong on that field
No, he
until
did
he
not.
scored his
until
first
he
goal.
scored that goal.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't want to get fooled by Brazil. I've had my heart broken by Brazil, but this is still my team. This group doesn't look that strong. Serbia looks like they have a bunch of wrestlers out there. And
Holy shit, they're big, dude, and they're
they're
scary.
big, dude. They're big, dude.
Yeah, I was looking at like a corner kick during the match. God. Their
Dude,
center
they're
backs
scary
are
motherfuckers.
like
It's good
FIFA,
thing
like
Costa
FIFA's,
Rica didn't play them.
6'7", 182 pounds.
Dude, I feel like
6'7"? Holy shit.
I feel
what is
like
that?
what's the dude from the Wyatt family, the tall dude, Strowman. Like I feel like Strowman's about to come out of the fucking game, dude. Like it's insanity. So poor Neymar's ankle looks completely destroyed. Bless his
Busted.
soul. Is there anything else of interest here? I mean, Brazil is always a hot topic. I mean,
Yeah. If Brazil wants to win the World Cup, they need to bench Rafinha. They need to play Rodrigo. They're gonna play Rodrigo now that Neymar is injured. They have to. And yeah,
he looked
quite
good.
frankly, Rafinha is a horrific player that shouldn't be on this team. But
That's
know,
why he scored 2 goals.
no, that's
Richarlison.
Richarlison.
Oh,
I would be
Richarlison.
saying the same thing about Richarlison, but they really don't have anything else up top.
Yeah.
Gabriel Jesus is a good player, but he's not really like an out-and-out striker.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you're saying that you don't like Rafinha. That's interesting. I like Rafinha.
yeah, he's I think he's fine, but I just think he shouldn't be starting.
You could tell though when Rodrigo came on that Brazil had a different
approach.
approach. Like Rodrigo does add an element which I kind of like, is that he does kind of add a little bit more explosiveness. Like kind of
Yeah.
what Neymar used to do back in the day.
Mhm.
When Neymar used to get the ball when he was younger, I mean, his explosiveness was just kind of crazy. Like it kind of took you off guard by how fast he could just like kind of explode, to
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
run and sprint. And I kind of get those vibes from Rodrigo. With Vinicius, I mean, I still have my critiques on the guy, and I think he's good to me. I think he is holding that line down. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with Rodrigo in there. And I think Neymar going down, I
Opens the
think that's
door
a
for
good
him.
thing. I think it's a good thing.
I
You
know,
didn't
man.
like
He
what
didn't
you
look
saw?
that good in the game.
He
He
did
didn't
not.
look that good. He looked like
His
he was
passes were
trying too
off.
hard, forcing things. I don't know.
His accuracy was not there. Vinicius
Yeah,
was okay.
he was all right. Vinicius, the thing you're gonna get with him is speed. He's gonna run at the defender,
Yeah.
and anytime you got that, like, and the daringness that he has, you're always gonna cause trouble. Kind of like a Franck Ribéry when he was for France.
Who did look amazing to me was Casemiro.
Casemiro's
Casemiro.
incredible. He's a great player.
Great player.
You know,
Probably the best player in my eyes of Brazil in that game, just because he just adds just like this solidness, and I think playing international just really suits him well. It's much slower.
Yep.
yeah. And you know what? Really quick before we move on, I love Thiago Silva, and I think Marquinhos is good too. But one of these boys got to go out, and they got to bring in Militao.
Yeah.
They got to bring in that boy, because it's one thing to play against Serbia, or Serbia. It's another when you go up against of France, let's say.
Yeah,
And
Mbappe's
now
gonna
Thiago
cook that guy.
Silva's, yeah, come on, bro.
Leave him in the dust. It's just
Dust him. Yeah.
yeah,
So uh you know, we'll see how it goes, but yeah. They look solid, nothing special though. And I want them to win. Like Brazil's the team I want to win. So
of course,
yeah.
people's team. Anything else y'all want to add about Brazil? I mean, is there anything else of this group that interested you or surprised you or
No,
no?
just
Okay.
three team, just one real team in the group.
Damn.
Okay. All right. All right. We're gonna go into our last group and then we can call it a day.
All right.
Which is on paper looks like a really, really hard group, but I think we probably had the most boring game in the World Cup in this group.
Why?
Uruguay and Korea with 0 shots on target and an aging Luis Suarez,
Oh, dude,
a
come
Darwin Nunez
on.
that looks like out of his fucking depth, and
Yeah.
one of my favorite players, which I still think is probably going to be the game changer of Uruguay, is Valverde. I hope that he does
Great
well.
player.
Great player, and I think that that's probably one of the more exciting players on that team. And they also have another young dude, but Portugal, while it was a good game against Ghana, and I think Portugal can go far.
Hmm.
They low key have a really cool team. Like I like their team.
They have a good team. Yeah.
It's a good balance. They have a good balance.
Yeah, but man, that was kind of those are some kind of nerve wracking last minutes of that game. Ghana really kind of gave it to them, and I was kind of surprised by how much Ghana actually kept up and how much Portugal was kind of giving them these chances. Like I was kind of surprised by that. Like how much they took the gas off the pedal really quickly. They almost went into lax mode once Cristiano got off. Once they took off some other players, like they really went into fucking let's put this thing on neutral and let's fucking drive this thing down. There's no need to waste gas.
Right.
Yeah.
We could just
We're
cruise.
we're gonna cruise to the house.
You're 100% right, because if you looked at if you said look at the players on all the teams in the World Cup and give me the top 5 teams, and you're just looking at the players, Portugal is on there. They're on that top 5 because Ruben Diaz, beast
Peace.
for Manchester City. Cancelo, beast for Manchester City. Uh,
Peace.
what's his name? The little dude, Rafa. What's his name? The little Bernardo Silva, beast.
Peace.
Bruno Fernandez, really good player.
Can't
Joao
call him a
Felix,
beast.
I think Joao Felix is a really good player. I think he's a talent.
Yeah.
You know, and Cristiano, well, obviously, like he's not the player that he used to be. He can, if there's a ball loose in the box, kind of like Eder Valencia or Ener Valencia,
Uh-huh.
he can get to it. And sometimes that's all you need. He's not going to run past players anymore. That's not his game. And you could argue like whether or not he should be starting for them. Uh, but they got some gorillas on that team, and
Yeah.
I think they can go far. I think no one's gonna want to see them. Uh, having that dude Rafael Leao come off the bench and give him like that energy, I think
Yeah.
is great.
Great.
I think Otavio is a solid player, so they're just good team, good team.
Mm-hmm. Good team. Um, yeah, I mean, I echo that as well. I mean, that game was good. I mean, they almost gave it away at the end if Iñaki Williams would have stayed on his feet.
Man,
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so it's unfortunate, but yeah, Portugal. I have them going far. I have them going to the finals. To be honest with you,
But
um,
yeah, I
that's
remember that.
me. But then again, I've been wrong on almost every take that I've had. So
yeah.
don't take my money on. Don't put any bets on
They
my
might
thing.
not even make it out the group now. Yeah,
Yeah, and they're gonna have a hard. I think
test.
that
Yeah.
they're gonna have a hard test if they don't get first, which I don't
Mm.
particularly see them because I don't see anybody really beating them in this group. The only team that I see that, if anything, Ghana was the one that had enough, I think a taste of it maybe, but Uruguay is the only one that I could think of like can do it. Korea can't get a shot on target, so if Sun's not fucking getting it on target, I
Yeah,
don't know
no
who the
one
hell
is.
is.
No. I like Korea. I wish Korea went through. They got a player that I think is pretty good in Kagan Lee. Obviously, everyone knows about Heung-min Son, but at the end of the day, like to win, you just gotta be a dog, man. Like you can't be nice, and you gotta be a little nasty. And I think
Yeah.
Korea lacks that a little bit. Um, and so a good game is gonna be Uruguay against Portugal. That's gonna be a good test for Portugal because Uruguay knows if they don't win that, damn,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be in a good spot.
Yeah.
So that will be a good test for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I
there
think
anything you want to add,
this
Ladito?
group's still open. Yeah, still open for. I mean, we still gotta play the second match, but tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right? Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Who do y'all think's making it out of here?
I think it's Portugal and South Korea.
Okay.
Portugal and Uruguay.
Okay. I think
With the
Ghana's getting
Suarez
out of
being a
here.
hero.
I'm
Well,
getting.
look at
I'm
but
getting
but
Ghana
you
in it.
think Portugal is going through.
Of course, yeah.
So we all got a little different answers. So it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see like who
I
goes
liked what I
through.
saw from Ghana. I thought they kept up. I thought they
Yeah,
kept up
no,
with a Portugal team that on paper has a bunch of fucking crazy ass players. I thought Ghana
mhm,
did well, and they were in the thing that I think is different than all of them is that they actually scored goals.
Yeah.
true. My
Korea and
boy
Uruguay.
celebrating that 3-2 like this.
I know. Come on, come on, get him, man. Do that. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. I
Yeah.
like that about him. Okay. We were gonna go into CONCACAF, but I think the episode's getting too long, so we can cut it here. Thank you all both for coming. I mean, Alita, you're here every week, but thank you, that boy, aka my cousin.
Yeah.
You're also the co-host of the other podcast that I'm in, Caffeine and Sensu Beans. So if you haven't subscribed to that, go follow that. Um, CSB Pod. Um, talk about anime there, not soccer related, but it's always a pleasure to have you on. You bring you know so much shit about this. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm talking to a journalist every time I talk. Like we were looking for the picture of Messi in the jersey, and like, yeah, I already saw it. So what I'm saying, like you have your sources, and I always appreciate you coming on, man. So thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank
Anytime.
you,
It's
bro.
always a pleasure. I love, obviously, I love the sport. Grew up playing it, and so for me, this is like, uh, this is just a pleasure. So yeah, anytime. I appreciate it. It's always great to have conversations with both of you. So thank you again for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. And if you made it this far into our stream and our podcast, thank you again. Our links are right here. Wait, other way, right here.
Other way.
Wait, other way. There it is, right here. All our social media and all our shit is right here. Make sure you go follow us, give us a review, and leave a like and subscribe. Anything else you want to say, Larito?
No, man. Thank you guys. Excited for the next couple
Yeah,
matches.
yeah. So thank you.